You're over there in the States,
Rowan,
and that's what we're here to talk about. So tell us what's been happening. Tell us the importance of the midterms, James, why this is such a crucial election and what it means, in the longer term for the 2024 presidential elections.
Right. Well, Rowan, I mean, it is actually funny that we're starting this out talking about Dan Andrews, because just the other day we were in the Florida panhandle of the town of Madison, and we actually met a bar owner who said, what is going on with that Dan Andrews guy down in Australia? We played a clip of him on Friday on the U.S. report, and you know what? Dan Andrews is synonymous with COVID brutality around the world, even in this tiny town, in Florida. But the midterm elections, okay, Tuesday here in the U.S., Wednesday, Australia time. This is huge because, in America, you're not talking about voting in the executive, the president, through the legislature. It's completely different. But what will happen here is if the Republicans have a strong showing, well, a few things happen. Number one, they get control of the House and the Senate, which means that, of course, they can effectively stymie the Joe Biden legislative agenda, which is a huge thing to do, which then sets them up for 2024, going into that presidential contest, where we may very well have an announcement in the next few days from Donald Trump about what his intentions are about that. But the other really important thing about this, Rowan, is that if the Republicans do well here, and if they get the House and they get the Senate, guess what they can do? They can run investigations against the White House, against Joe, against Hunter, about Chinese corruption, Ukrainian corruption, all those dodgy deals that, Twitter, back when it was pre-Elon Musk era, wasn't allowed to publish, where the New York Post revealed it all. So there's a lot at stake here. And essentially, if the Republicans do as well as it looks like they're going to do at this point, the entire Biden presidency will be stymied in a lame duck.
Rita.
Could it be any more lame than it already is? That's the question I ask, because he's had the House, he's had the Senate, he's had the White House, and it has been disastrous. So in a way, that might actually stop some of the destruction we've seen over the last 2 years. I
disagree. If the Democrats do poorly here, everything they're showing right now is they're going to double down and go harder on trying to crash through with their ridiculous progressive policies, making life difficult for the middle class, inflation, oil prices, all the way down the line.
Well, and this is what's remarkable. You were talking about Victoria before, but I think this is equally remarkable that Joe Biden isn't pivoting. He is seeing how badly his policies are being felt. He is seeing the poll numbers, but he doesn't have the strength to stand up to the inner circle that is pushing him in this radical left agenda. We saw with Clinton, he pivoted when he was in this position, and he gave the people what they wanted to try to reduce the damage. But Biden hasn't done that at all. He has doubled down, and even in the last 2 days, he was talking about closing more coal plants across the country. More coal workers would lose their jobs. This is at a time when they've got an enormous energy crisis. And why would a president say that at a time when people are hurting because of energy costs? It is remarkable.
This is actually something that everybody in Australia needs to be watching, because the same pattern will play out, and it's already playing out in Australia. Go back to Bill Clinton. When Bill Clinton was president, well, he's a right-wing conservative compared to what the Biden administration is doing. Because you know what? You remember he had that slogan, "It's the economy, stupid." And so he was all about connecting with voters and middle-class, working-class voters about their economic concerns. A lot of stuff he did, didn't work out the way that he thought they would, like NAFTA. But, ever since Clinton, the Democrats have forgotten their ability to, connect with the working class, the middle class. Obama had this problem. Hillary Clinton had this problem with her deplorables comments, and they have become so disconnected from the people that they are trying to represent. In Australia, what's happening? Well, the same thing. They're essentially doing we'll transition you out of the coal jobs, and maybe you can learn to code or something like that. But that's, it doesn't work. It doesn't work in America, and that's where it's going to go in Australia. So that is why these elections are so important for us to watch back in Oz.
And one of the big stars.
It gives a lesson to the coalition, Rowan.